Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler Friday Fishing Report. This is where we look at current events around Vancouver's fishing industry, we look at politics affecting the fishing industry, and obviously we talk about the fishing. We're filming for November 22nd, so if it's nowhere near November 22nd, please click up here. That's a link to all our Friday Fishing Reports, and we do it every Friday, so we've probably got something more up to date for you. This week, we're looking at a deja vu all over again kind of scenario, meaning that we almost have the identical weather forecast that we had last week. Now that's really cool because last week we did see a substantial blowout, but there were windows of really good fishing, and we can take what we learned from last week, apply it to this week, and with a little less rain in the forecast and slightly colder temperatures, it should make for some good fishing. We're going to talk about the Squamish, we're going to talk about the Vedder, we're going to talk about the Harrison in this week's report. Now, we also released 2 videos this week. It was a double upload week. One was actually a re-release, and that was our Christmas Island video. We're hosting a really cool trip in March, and we're going to talk about that with you guys this week. We also did another one on how to double haul. It's a quick video, 10 minutes long, and if you watch it through, you're going to either hone your double hauling skills a little bit, or if you don't even know what a double haul is, it's going to give you the foundation and the muscle memory to learn it while you're watching the video. So we're going to talk through that as well. We're also going to talk a little bit about saltwater fishing this week. We haven't talked about it much, but we're going to touch base on all the upcoming winter fisheries, be it steelhead fishing on the Chilliwack. We've heard whisperings on that front. The egg fishing that's obviously going on right now, but ramps up over the next 2 months, and the winter Chinook fishing. Jay's been out a couple times in the last week, and so we're getting some more up-to-date reports, and we're going to touch base on that as well. Now, if you guys can stick with me till the end of the report, I am going to touch base on politics. Last week, you guys might have missed it, but Jay wanted a bit of a rant on the blog version of the Friday Fishing Report, and he sent it in late, so I didn't have a chance to put it into the video version. Now, Jay's been working his butt off. He was at the Big Splash event last week, and he's going to be at the SFAB, the Sports Fishing Advisory Board, this weekend, where he gets to talk directly to DFO. So we're going to talk about what he said last week, if you guys can stick with me till the end of the report. As always, if you guys want to see more reports like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and let's get into the fishing report. Okay, so let's jump right into it, and you guys might have seen I've switched things around a little bit, so if it's confusing, I apologize. I was tired of staring at Jay's messy desk. He's just too busy to get in here and clean things up. So now we get to look at Alex's beautiful, well, semi-beautiful entering and receiving desk. So on the fishing though, that's why you guys are here. We're gonna look at the Vancouver report here. When I scroll up, if my computer will load, there we go. We've got that storm coming through, and that's coming through Saturday. For Friday, we're looking at 1 to 3 mils, so it'll be a little bit drizzly around here, but this isn't as important as when we look up to the Squamish, and that's obviously where we're going to see one of our major fisheries, and you can see 30 to 40 millimeters. Now normally that would concern me, and I do expect this to bring more high water like we saw last week, but it's not as much water as we did see last week, and if you see here, the temperatures are a little bit cooler. We've got 5 degrees and 6 degrees. That's going to mean some snow in the higher elevations, and you know I'm really critical of looking at the snow levels and freezing levels in particular, but my bet is that you're going to have good fishing leading into this and then excellent fishing on the back end of it. We saw last week, and I'm going to talk to you guys through at the river levels, it dropped really quickly, and for guys that were out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the fishing was excellent up on the Squamish. When we throw this over to the Chilliwack, we're going to see, sorry, my computer always bumps us up there. A little bit more of an extended rain, meaning that Saturday and Sunday are seeing 20 to 25 and 10 to 15. Now again, the river blew out last week with a lot more rain than this. I do expect this to mean dirty water, but I also think that either side of it, there should be excellent fishing, and it could be the last kick at the can for our salmon fishery, and it means some great egg fishing for all of our rivers in that Chilliwack area or the Squamish area, because the rain's going to disturb salmon eggs from the gravel. The bull trout and the rainbows are going to feed on them, and I don't think it's going to be so much rain that we have a concern where too many salmon eggs are washed out like we sometimes see with major extended blowouts. So that is what we expect in the fishing side of things. We've got details in the blog version of the report, and always check that out in the links below on the Harrison, on the Squamish, and on the Vedder. And Alex touches base on the steelhead fishery to come up. We've already heard whisperings of steelhead caught out in the Chilliwack area, so it's time to start thinking in that direction. With that in mind, we have our Steelhead Jam session coming up. Now, the bad news is you guys haven't signed up. It is sold out. It's a free event, but we do have a limited number of people, and it is once again all sold out. If you guys are going to miss it, in the blog version, Jordan and Zach share the flies one of the flies that they're going to feature. So you can check that out if you want to see some inspiration, so to say, for your steelhead box. So that leads us to the video side of things. We had a double upload this week. We did a video on Christmas Island, and we did a video on the double hauling. The Christmas Island front's really cool and really close to my heart. I host a trip every year to Christmas Island. I've been going for 5 years now. It is a really, really cool trip. I've traveled around the world. Warm water fishing is one of my favorite things to do. I've been to Cuba many times. I've been to Belize. I've been to Mexico, been to Florida. And Christmas Island is special. It's special, first off, because it's relatively close. It sounds like it's a long way away, but the travel is not that arduous. It's also relatively cost effective when it comes to these kinds of trips, and the diversity is phenomenal. Now, one caveat with it is we do recommend going with a host, with someone who understands the fishery. The divide between the cultures when you go, when it comes to dealing with your guides and dealing with the staff on hand, as well as the conditions in the fishery, can be challenging. You can still have excellent trips on the DIY front or just going on your own, but if you can go with a host the first time, it's really, really valuable. We can play with the conditions, understand what would be good on a given day, and really maximize your trip. Now, I've still got spots available for our March trip, so check that out. We did a blog post. Links will be in the description on that, or check out the video. I'll link that up here, and everything on that is also in the description of the video. I go into a pretty heavy detail on all the different species that you can target and what to look for. So even if you aren't traveling with us, if you considered going to Christmas Island, or you are going to Christmas Island with another group, take a look at that. I hope you're going to learn a lot and it's going to help you on your trip. Now, on the casting video is something that I've been working on for a while. The double haul is what I consider the gateway drug to advanced fly casting. It's really going to take you from that intermediate stages into the advanced levels. And you're going to hit sort of a wall when you get about 50 to 70 feet in your cast. You're going to struggle to get there to begin with, and the double haul is going to make it way easier to make that 40, 50, 60 foot cast, but it's going to allow you to push past that. In this video, it's literally 10 minutes long, and you sit down with it, and it's designed so you can train along with the video. So if you've never done it before, sit down, grab a pen, grab a pencil, go through the video casting with me, and you're going to have the muscle memory to be able to put into practice. And if you are a guy who already is double hauling, but you want to tweak it a bit, I go over a bunch of detailed graphs where we look at the perfect time to double haul. So if you want to work on your casting this weekend while it's raining, take a look at that video. Links are up here. Now, the saltwater front. Saltwater has been good. It is starting. The winter Chinook is something that we do this time of year. It usually ramps up in the back end of December, January, February, March, but it seems to be getting earlier and earlier every year. Jay was out the last couple weeks. He's been out twice this week. And first off, the prawning is phenomenal. We got some pictures here of a feast that we had last week. It was excellent. So the prawning's been really good. So if you're thinking about getting out and doing that, the crabbing has been good. Sorry, I can't talk. The crabbing has been excellent, and every time they've gone out, they've been hooking fish. So it's worth looking at, worth considering getting your boat back in the water, or if the boat's still in the water, go out there, have a cruise if it's a nice, clear, calm day. Now, we're going to touch a lot more on that after Christmas. I'm going to get back into doing the tide reports. I know you guys want to see that and where I would go. But as of now, it's sort of a scouting mission and worth looking at. So you guys made it. I promised to talk about some politics if you guys made it to the back end of the report. And well, what's happened? Not much has happened, but Jay went on a bit of a rant in last week's blog, and it's because he's working his butt off right now. He was doing the big splash event last week. It is a gala, but it's also a very detailed seminar-based day where they go over a lot of very interesting topics where they can talk to the scientists. They can talk in a large part to DFO as well, or at least have presentations from them. And they looked at seal numbers, they looked at whales, they looked at a number of the things affecting the stocks of concern when it comes to Chinook fishing. Now this week he is going to the island for the SFAB, and that is the Sports Fishing Advisory Board. I always fumble over that acronym, but that's where they get to talk directly to DFO, and DFO listens. Now they may not do anything about it, but at least they're listening. And what he's told me prior to leaving, but he's concerned that we're going to have the same fight that we had last year. But this year we're going to be more prepared for it. What happened last year? Well, if you guys don't know, probably living under a rock if you're a saltwater angler, but if you might not be a saltwater angler, you may not have taken note. And it's something that I want you guys to take note on because it pointed out a number of flaws in the way fisheries in general are managed. It just so happened to be that they were focused on the Chinook in the saltwater. And what specifically happened was that there were stocks of concern, early Fraser. They were in real concern, and there were needing to take action to protect them. The sports fishermen don't intercept those fish, meaning that literally in all the studies, in all the science, 1% is the interception rate for the entire sports fishing fleet. And 1% is very subjective. That could very easily be 0, but they're just erring on the side of caution. But they shut us down. And why did they shut us down? Well, we're going to call a spade a spade. It's been told to us directly by DFO, directly by the politicians. It was because they needed to shut down First Nations in the rivers. And there is a precedent that they cannot shut down First Nations without shutting everybody else down. Now, this is really concerning. It's really concerning on a number of management fronts, not just fisheries management, that if a special interest group can wield this much power, forego scientific data in the management of a resource, we have a much bigger problem in this province. But it also is a very sly tactic of the politicians, probably not directly planned, but it causes us to fight among special interest groups, meaning we're pointing fingers at the First Nations are pointing fingers at us, pointing fingers at commercial anglers, and it divides us all when all of us, all we want is to make sure those stocks of concern are protected, as well as take advantage of the resource and enjoy the resource where it can provide. And so look at Jay's rant. He words it way better than I do. And what can you guys do right now? Well, the first off is, like I said, get educated. We need the public to understand this, and a lot of the public don't because it's a very complicated issue. But they need to understand it on a bigger front than just the fishing, on how the politicians are managing resources, looking at special interest groups. So get educated, and then over this holiday season, when it comes up in conversation or you're sitting down at the family dinner table or with friends, educate them. Do it in a positive manner. There's no need for heated debate over it, but make sure they're educated because most public don't understand what's going on. The second thing you can do is support the Sports Fishing Institute. Now, the Sports Fishing Institute has never made a big call for membership. They haven't needed to. They've worked directly with DFO. They've worked directly with science, and it's made sense. Science dictates what we do, and we're the first ones to put up our hand when science says, don't fish, you're hurting a fishery. But we're asking that everyone support the Sports Fishing Institute. I'm going to have links down. Join them, donate to them, pay attention to what they're doing, and hopefully we'll be better prepared going forward in this next year for what might come. Okay, rant over. We made it through it. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, where I rant about politics, but more importantly, I try to get the information out there to you, obviously, where I also love talking about the fishing, so that's important as well. So please consider hitting that subscribe button. It lets us know that you guys want to see and hear this kind of stuff. Hit that like button, and we're going to catch you in the next Friday Fishing Report.